Today I'm going to look at a new outdoor security camera that I got from gearbest.com, and this one here is it's a neat unit. It's 360 degree pan tilt zoom with a 5x optical zoom, 1080p resolution. It also has an internal SD card where you can store your recordings on the camera itself and play them back remotely. Anyway, let's set this thing up. It's actually quite a neat little unit. Today we're going to look at this megapixel IP camera. This is an outdoor security camera. We're going to set it up and see how it performs and give it a good test. So in the box comes an Ethernet cable. That would be for setting it up. Some mounting hardware. An antenna because it is Wi-Fi based. A power adapter. Well, that's going to be a problem. See, right now that's going to be a problem. It's got the wrong type of adapter. We're going to have to make something work for that. And looks like a fitting to bring wires through the wall. And here's the camera itself. And another bracket. So it's an Alfawise. Let's take a look at what the power requirements are, and then I'll have to find an adapter. I think it's probably just a standard 12 volt center positive. It is 2 amps, 12 volts, center positive. I should have an adapter around here that will power this up, so I won't have to use this one that's got the European plug on it. When you order one of these, make sure you get the one that's got the right plug. I'll just get a standard brick 12 volt center tip. This should work fine. It's got what do we got here? I wonder that. Oh, that's a button. So that button is the master reset button, so that if you mess something up and you really screw things up, you can press that button and that'll return the camera to factory setting. Well, here's our specifications. You can put an SD card in the unit. Where does it go? Well, SD card goes right in the bottom here. So if we open up the base, see, this is to stop someone from stealing your SD card. But if you open up the base, you can put an SD card in so that your videos are saved on the camera itself, and then you can play them back remotely over the internet. But the base comes off, and there's a slot for a micro SD card. And then you put the base back on, and that protects the card from someone just removing it. Of course, if you've got the camera out of reach, then that's going to also help protect it, but it keeps it dry, keeps the moisture away from it. I'm not going to be using an SD card in it in this demonstration, at least not at this time, but I might put one in for when we actually get the camera running so that I can test it. This unit is actually quite heavy. It seems to be relatively solid. It's got stainless steel screws on it. A speaker so that you can talk to the person. You can talk back over the camera, and obviously a microphone. There's 2 types available. One's got audio in and outputs on the cable itself, and the other one just has the RJ45 interface. So I guess the first thing I need to do is I'm going to have to download the app. So let me get my phone going here. I'll download the app so that I can set this up, because all these IP-based cameras, you use an app. So I'm just going to go to the App Store. I'm going to download Cam High from Google Play. You can get it from the Apple App Store as well, or you can scan the code, but type in Cam High. There it is. It shows you what the icon looks like. I'm going to download that and install it. So if you just connect power to the camera, it's going to go into access point mode, and I should be able to find the camera and pair it to my network. That's the route that I'm going to take. as I'm going to try pairing it to my network without connecting it to the LAN. So it's going to power it up, and I'm going to look for it, and should be able to connect to it and then pair it to my network, like most of the security cameras that are on the market these days. Now on the label, the ID for the camera is in a QR code, which is the reason I'm covering it up, and covering up the serial number is so that you guys can't see what the serial number of my camera is. But typically you're going to scan this once you've got your phone connected to the camera in IP mode. You scan the camera and then give it the Wi-Fi name. So let's do that. But I say I'm covering this up just so you guys can't see it. But on this label here, this is how you would connect the camera. So it's a good idea once you've got your camera set up to remove the label and store this in a safe place so that someone just can't come along and scan it. Although the password is going to get changed anyway on here. So I won't be leaving the default password, which is admin. Username is admin and the password is admin by default, but that's going to get changed on it as soon as I activate the camera. So let's plug the camera in to power and see what it does. There it goes. It's going to go through its range of motion. What it's doing now is it's figuring out where its extreme ends are from end to end. It's going to figure out how far it can turn. Okay, what I'm going to do is I've got the app running. I'm going to try and pair this thing wirelessly. They use sound from the phone. The phone's going to chirp out some tones to the camera, and the camera should detect it. So I click on Add Camera, and I'm going to click on, rather than scan the ID from it because it's not currently connected, I'm going to click on Wireless Installation, and I'm going to put my password in, and I'm going to click Apply. This is the Wi-Fi password for my network that I'm going to connect it to. That's what I'm putting in, and I'm going to click Apply, and it's going to send out some tones to the camera. So I've got my password selected for my Wi-Fi network. I'm going to click Apply, and this should send some tones that the microphone in the camera will pick up. Of course, an easier way to do this would be to plug your LAN cable in from your modem when you're initially setting it up. Plug your LAN cable in and plug in your power. It should take about a minute, and then it should automatically configure the camera. This is supposed to be faster than searching it out, so let's try it this way. So we're going to let the camera search out, and then I'm going to scan the QR code and see how much faster that is to set up than doing the password manually. This is typically something you only have to do once unless you change your network name. And indeed, this is a lot faster than using those audio tones. So ideally, if this was mounted on the wall of your house, say outside of your garage, you'd drill a hole through the wall, bring the cables into the house, and have the unit powered up from the inside, and then just this piece would be outside the house. The LAN cable does not need to be connected once it's configured. There's a cap that goes over top of the LAN fitting to keep it dry if the cables are exposed. It comes with a mounting template for drilling. It has this little base that you would attach to the wall that corresponds to the two smaller holes. So this is on the bottom. So you drill your pilot holes, attach the base. The camera fits into the base like this, and then the two top screws go through and hold the unit in place. That way it's got this first piece to the base that will hold the camera in place while you attach the top two screws. All the hardware comes in the package for mounting it. Here we have the green light indicating that there's data communicating between the camera and the LAN. So let's search the camera out. I have the app open. I'm going to select Add Camera. I'm going to scan the QR code in. And click the check mark. At this point, I go into the camera setup, and now I can change the password, change the settings for the alarm, change the audio setting, video settings, and Wi-Fi settings, SD card settings. All this can be changed now before I disconnect the LAN cable. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the Wi-Fi settings so that it'll connect to my network. Then I can disconnect the LAN cable and continue on. So let me just do that now off camera, and I'll get back to you in a second here. I can go into the video settings and I can set my frame rate anywhere from 1 to 30 frames per second. So I've set my frame rate for the high quality and the standard quality mode. I've selected apply, and now that I've set my Wi-Fi password, I should be able to unplug the LAN cable here, and I should be able to control the camera over Wi-Fi and get a picture on my phone. So let's try that. It tells me my camera is online, it's connecting, and if I tap it, I have a picture from the camera. There it is. And if I swipe the camera, I can turn it around. Which way is down? Zoom in, zoom out. So I'm just going to go and temporarily attach the camera on the wall so that we can play around with this and see how this thing performs. So I've just attached the camera just onto my door frame just for the remainder of this demo. It's not going to be obviously staying there, but I'll leave it there for the remainder of the demo. We're going to hook up power to it, and then we're going to play around with it and view it on the phone and stuff and just try it out. And I would do the night shots now, and then tomorrow I'll do some daytime shots. So we'll see how it performs night and day. Camera's powered back up, so it's going through its self-test. Once it finishes its self-test, I should be able to access it, pan, tilt, and zoom, and we'll see how this thing performs. We'll do the night vision test tonight, and then again tomorrow I'll leave it here overnight, and then tomorrow we'll play around with it and see how it performs during the daytime before I take this thing down, because I'm not going to leave it obviously sitting there. I've got enough cameras kicking around here right now, but I'll find a place to put this thing at some point, but for now it's sitting in my driveway. Okay, the camera is back online. It comes back online automatically. Let's control it from the phone. So if I swipe down, it will pan down. If I swipe it to the right, it'll pan over to the right. This thing's got a really good picture on it. I'm going to close down the garage door here so that there's no light coming out of the garage, and we'll see how this performs with night vision. Okay, the door is closed. The light out front is still on, so there is some light out there. The floodlight's on. The LED light is on right now. But if I pan the camera over to where there is no light, this light will go out after a couple minutes, by the way, because I was out there. So I pan the camera over, and I want to zoom in. See which way I got to go there. Now, if I want to zoom, you can pinch to zoom, and that's going to do a digital zoom. But if you tap the screen and you click the plus button here, now you've got an optical zoom. So if I tap the zoom in, this is now going to use the actual optical zoom on the camera itself. It has a 5 times optical zoom. Now, in addition to the optical zoom, which I'm zoomed in all the way, I still have digital zoom on this as well. And I can also go to focus out or focus in, so you can adjust the focus manually. Mirror and flip is to give you a mirror image, and flip turns the picture upside down. So depending on how you've mounted the camera, if you mount the camera up the other way, for example, then it would flip it over. I don't know why you would want to do that with this particular design of camera. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but the speaker here turns on the microphone in the camera. You can hear my voice coming back, and if I tap the microphone here, now I can talk to whoever's outside, and I can hear my own voice coming back. So you got two-way audio. Snapshot saved, and this would be to record. Now this is going to record on my phone right now because I don't have an SD card in it. So this is actually recording on my phone. Now it's pretty dark in my front yard right now. There's no lights on. The only light that's on is that's a little small. Looks like I might have. I'm just going to clean the lens. It looks like I got a bit of a smear on the lens. Let me go clean that. There, that looks a little bit better. I was wondering why it had all this right in the middle where the light was. It was all foggy. Well, it's because I had a nice thumbprint on the lens itself. So that's looking a little better. There's no light whatsoever in my front yard. The only light that there is from the infrared lights on the camera itself. So as you can see, if I zoom in, I'm going to zoom into this area here. So I'm going to zoom in. Zoom all the way in. And now I can zoom in even more on that area out in the street. It's pitch black there. Yet the LEDs, the infrared LEDs on the camera, there's 6 of them, are providing sufficient light that I can see right out into the street. So I'm fully zoomed in now, looking across the street. We'll zoom out, and I'm going to leave it now tonight, and tomorrow we'll pick this up and I'll show you what the picture quality looks like during the day, and then we'll also get this going on the PC so you can see how it looks on a PC as opposed to just a phone. A lot of people are going to use a camera like this. They're going to use it on their phone though, so I figured I would show the features of the phone just because that's how many people are going to view it. They're going to use it as a remote camera to view on their phone, so that if they're at home or they're not at home, they're at work, and someone goes on the property, you can set up an alarm so that if it detects any motion, it will send you an alert on your phone. But let's continue this in the daytime. Okay, it's now daytime, and I've installed the High P2P client on my PC. This comes with the instructions. If you go to the website and download the instructions, it comes with bundled in the zip. It comes with the client. So you fire up the client. It's pretty easy to find it because you just search it out by the number that's printed on the camera. And once it is loaded up, it will give me a picture of my outdoor camera. And basically how you do it, and I can't show you guys on the screen because it'll have the numbers for my camera on here, but you click on config and you're going to put in your administrator password that you set up with it. And so let me log in here. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to click add, and when you click add, it's going to ask you for the ID number from the camera, which is the same number that's on the sticker that's on the top of the camera that had the barcode that I didn't show you guys for obvious reasons, because I don't want anybody trying to break into my camera and look at what's on my camera. But you put the number in, and once you've added the camera, you can then go over to click over to here, and the camera will show up. And if I double click on it, it'll bring it up to full screen. If I open this up, now I can play around with the camera, and we can move it around and zoom and so forth. My pan tilt zoom control over here, if I click to the left, the camera will turn to the left, and click up, it'll go up. If I click one of the diagonal arrows here, it'll move both directions at the same time. So I'm up all the way now, as high as it'll go. And I've got zoom. What do we got here? This one is where we zoom out. turn it around 360 degrees. If I turn the camera around, you'll see me inside the workshop. If I open the door, tilt down, and then of course if I zoom in, this is an optical zoom. Five times optical zoom. It also has focus. So here's just the focus here. I can go into manual focus or autofocus. So I can defocus and focus the image in. So if you get into a situation where the autofocus is not locking in, you can do it manually with control. As I say, the picture quality off this thing at nighttime was fantastic. In daytime, it's fantastic. I haven't put an SD card in it yet, so let's go put an SD card in here so I can try recording and see how it records. So if I click on to record, I now start a recording on the camera. It's now recording on the SD card. At least it should be recording on the SD card right now. Okay, let's see if I can play back the recording here on my phone. How the heck do I do this? I'm gonna, a car just went by. Go to video. I should have a shot of me walking out in front of the camera. There. So that was recorded on the SD card. Inside the camera, I'm able to play it back. Okay, so to play back your recordings that are made, I've got it set with some motion on here. So if I go up to, I think it was this one, and or no, that one, remote playback. That's where I got. And I'm going to go down to where it says outdoor camera, and I'm going to do a search. So I'm just going to search for everything that's been recorded here. And I see that I've got 3 clips that have been recorded. So if I click on it, I double click on it. I think I double click. And it'll start playing. Okay, so this was a recording that was made a few minutes ago. Actually at 5:08. If I go to the next recording, now these can be recorded on the SD card in the camera. They can also be recorded on the local computer. You can specify if you want to record it to the hard drive and record right to the hard drive of the computer. Oh, that was that clip. That was the second one. This must be the third clip here. I did 3 clips. Yeah, that was the other. That was the third clip I did. And then to stop it, I just go back to live. And it'll go back to live recording. See, it's got the times here that the recording was made. We'll go back to remote playback. Search. Should be the last one there now. If I set it back for motion detection again and set it up to record. So I'll pop the SD card out of the camera so you can see what was recorded on the camera, and it just records them in standard 264 files, which are just H.264. If you have the right player on your computer, which I do here, and click on the file. That was recorded on the SD card. You can hear me talking when I was making the recording. That was the recording that we watched back remotely, right? That was the recording that we just watched back remotely from the SD card on the camera. But if you take the SD card out, you can also play it back. So that's how the remote recording works on the SD card. As I say, I'm not planning on leaving the SD card in this camera because, you know, it's just a test camera for now. But that's it, pretty much. It's a neat little unit. The link to this is in the description, and I think it's a nice little camera, and it does a great job. It has a good picture. It works really well at night. Pan tilt zoom. It's waterproof. I wouldn't get the connectors wet though. I would have them under, protected. Even though they are sealed, I would still keep the connectors dry. If you're gonna mount a camera like this outside on a pole or something, I would have an electrical box to feed power up to it, to power it up and have that protected from the weather if I was doing it. Anyway, that's a quick look at the pan tilt zoom security camera. Looks to be good. Link to this is in the description. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we will catch you again in the next one real soon. I like that. Pan and tilt and full zoom. And you can see it's got autofocus as the camera was focusing there. Oh, and you can go full screen. If I click on there, I can go full screen. All right, thanks for watching. Link to this video is in the description. Thanks for watching.